If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Coming up on the program, how do we loosen our soil to get it ready for planting? I'll show you how. It may not work for everybody, but it may work for you. And we'll be planting carrots by using cardboard. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored by the following. MIgardener.com, with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. MIgardener.com. HappyLeafLED.com, a commercial-grade grow light with a home gardener's affordability. All indoors, no fans, no motors, simply plug in and grow. Great for seed starting to lettuce to full-grown tomatoes. HappyLeafLED.com.
Sustain Natural Fertilizer, offering superior organic plant foods that deliver research-proven results. Trusted by farmers, growers, and gardeners for 30 years. Learn more at sustain.com.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. There's many different ways in which you can get your garden beds ready for planting. One can be you just put compost in a raised bed, move the soil around, plant your seeds, and you're done. You can do the same in a container. If you're in a traditional ground garden, there's some different options in which you want to look at. One is, do you go with a no-till or low-till method of gardening? And that's kind of what we've worked on here for a number of years. This is a bed in which I'm standing in. I'm going to work it because we've got weeds that have come up. I've moved all the leaves back that we brought in last fall. We brought in right at 2,000 pounds of unshredded leaves. I've done the math. That's what we have brought in. That will work good by August. This stuff, all these leaves will most likely be worked in the soil, biodegraded, composted in the soil. We won't even know we did a thing, and we'll start all over in the fall again. So the key to what we do here is a garden fork. It's a flat tine, not a hay fork, a garden fork. And we work the soil when it's slightly moist. Even if it's dry, it works good. You just don't want it to be soggy because you're going to have lots of clumps that are not going to break apart very good. And you want that fine tilth. So when you plant your seeds, they don't have air pockets and they're not going to air prune themselves. They're actually going to grow into the soil and pull nutrients up. So this bed here is about 3 foot by 10 foot. And I'm taking this fork, and yes, I am disturbing the microbial life under the soil and exposing that to the atmosphere, and some of that is going to die off. I understand that, but this is what I want to do because we do have some invasive weeds, such as it's called creeping Charlie, and it'll actually root under the ground and then pop up like a raspberry plant might do. So I want to go ahead and try to purge that as best as possible because it's really a difficult plant to get rid of, and it can choke out what you're planting. So I'm just going to take, and all I'm doing is flipping and then breaking the clods apart, and then wherever I see that creeping Charlie or other weeds, I'm going to remove it. And then I'm going to go down as deep as the tines on the fork, and yeah, I'm going to mix some of that soil up. This is not beneficial if you have actual compost, like a raised bed. It doesn't make any sense because that's all good earth and the microbial life and the everything under the soil is webbing together, the soil web. Here we still have some clay particles. We're still working at building the soil, so this is not detrimental to the soil as you might think it would be. Where you could add more compost, more amendments. Once we get this bed worked, we're going to plant potatoes, and then we're going to mulch them heavy with the leaves to hold water retention and prevent any weeds, seeds that I have kicked up by doing this method from germinating. We'll bring 8-9 inches of leaves on top of the bed and go that route. But I'm just going to work this bed, and by doing this with the garden fork, I am not cutting these roots apart like I would with a tiller. Many roots propagate by small cuttings of the roots. And if we just go in here and till, we're killing a lot of worms. And secondly, we're cutting up all these weeds so you're mixing them in the soil and they're restarting it. Now, this is not something that is right for everybody. Some people choose to till on a regular basis, and that's what works best for you. This is what works best for us. This garden is 1,800 square feet. We've never put a tiller in the garden here, and we've simply worked the beds with the garden fork. Each bed, there are a lot of leaves here, so you can't see the identification of each bed, but each bed is between 2 to 4 foot wide and between 10 and 20 foot long, with distinct permanent walk paths between the beds. So it's essentially like a bunch of raised beds without the actual boards and the soil that you normally would see in a backyard. So I'm going to work this bed, and I'll show you how many weeds I actually get out of this little bed here. And it's greatly reduced because of the amount of mulch that leaves we've brought in and smothered. If we didn't have the leaves on there, one, the soil would not be as healthy as it is, because anything in the world that has soil, it's covered. Nature has covered their soil, whether it's in the woods, in the prairies. The only place you don't see coverage is in the desert. So you want to keep that in mind, or in really poor clay soil. There are some things that will grow there, but nature has really covered all to keep the microbial life healthy. I want to show you how aggressive this creeping Charlie is. It's part of the mint family, and these plastic bags are walk paths. It had compost in it a few years ago, and we're using them. You can see the aggressiveness of it. They just need very little soil to root, and they root actually on the plastic. It's easy to pull it off the plastic. It's hard to work it out of your soil. So I'm halfway done just about with the bed. And I've got a full bucket here. Now this bucket's probably about 3 gallons, but it's just the roots and some of the clods that didn't break up. And I still haven't got all of the, there's still roots in there, things that I can't see. That's just going to naturally occur. So now I kind of got to make a decision here, whether or not to continue or not. I'm starting to get in more moisture retentive soil here. The soil is getting very, very wet. And if I dig too much, that breaks apart just the way it's supposed to. That's good. As I continue to get this way, it becomes more of a spongy, squeeze it together, it doesn't flake apart. So what I'm going to do is, this is what you want to decide on your garden, and this may occur in this bed, for example, but 10 feet that way, that soil is perfectly fine to work based on the composition of the soil structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the leaves back over on the portion that I've already loosened and weeded. I'm going to leave this exposed on this end to allow the soil to essentially dry out, because it's such a thick mask of leaves on top of the bed that it can't dry out. It's always going to be spongy and wet. So I want this to dry out a little bit. In areas where we're going to plant our tomatoes and our peppers and our eggplant, we're not going to do this. We're simply going to, see how the soil is, and if it needs to be loosened a little bit, we will. But where the potatoes are going to be, that's why we're doing the tilling or the loosening, fluffing of the soil. And this is when you can add your organic materials, your compost. You can work that in on top, and then after you've already loosened the soil, you can work it in then. We will put it in at the time of planting, put it around the actual tubers. You can also fertilize at the time of planting. You don't want to fertilize right now because you're wasting a lot of fertilizer. It's not concentrated to where the plants are at. So this is the way we loosen our soil, the way we till in a minimum tilling type of situation with a garden fork and not a tiller. If you till, that's something that may be beneficial and work for you in your particular growing location. So what we're going to use is a seeding square, and based on the chart in which the seeding square comes with, it shows that leeks can be planted 16 per square foot, which that is a recommendation. So I've got 3 foot this way, and I've got about 3.5, 4 foot that way. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do 3 square foot of 16 leeks, then I'm going to go 3 square feet of 9 leeks, and then I'm going to finish off with 4 per square foot. We're going to see which really works better, and if the 16 really is compacted, or if they're going to grow to the full size that we're familiar with leeks. And I'm going to fill this little area up here. This side here we have garlic that has germinated from last fall, and then I'll figure out what we're going to do this way. We're utilizing all the space available in this garden to have the most production that we possibly can. Now with leeks, there is a way and a technique in which you want to get the plant deep enough in order for it to blanch. That bottom portion, that white portion that we're familiar with, But in many parts of the world, the whole plant is consumed. It's not just that bottom portion. Here in the United States, we are taught that that is the edible portion. The whole plant is edible. So we actually dehydrate a lot of the green portion, use it in soups and stews. So I'm going to show how we get these deep enough to get more blanching on the bottom portion. So we've got the device here. It's got the measurements 1 through 4 inches. So the red is the indication of 16 per square foot. So what we want to do in order to get that plant down deep enough to get the bleaching action or the blanching action, the white portion to be created, is you want to smother it or keep it away from sunlight. So we're just going to take, go the right direction here, I'm going to go down about 2.5 inches on all of these. All right, now we're going to raise this up and we'll see our holes here. We can widen them out, okay, some. Works better when you're in like raised bed situation because it's much, the soil is not so rocky or clay. All right, so we want to extract these from the container. So we don't need all of them, but I do want to take them all out. And then I'm going to take a chunk of them. All right, and we'll put these back in the container. So we want to separate these, and you can just separate them just like, you know, you don't want the soil to be too moist, so they break up, the soil breaks off the roots. Okay, so that's one leek, and we're going to set it, try to wrap the roots or get the roots in the hole. You can sometimes spin it like that. And then we want to push it down all the way up to that conjunction there where the two limbs are coming off. And that's good enough. Now we won't fill this in. We will water, and the water will begin to fill around there and knock some of that soil in. So we'll get another one here. And then you can harvest these at any time you want, but most times it's between 90 and 150 days for these to reach maturity. And we've had them as big as broom handles, the diameter of them. So if you've never grown leeks, first of all, find out if you like leeks by getting some from your local grocery store. It won't have the same flavor or freshness, but it'll give you an idea if you even want to attempt to try to grow these. So these are our 60-gallon grow bags, and we've got this one ready to go. We filled it with compost, topped it off with compost, added some coffee grounds as well as leaves in it. Even though it's kind of got a mesh bottom on it, there are worms in this bag here, the 60-gallon grow bag. We're going to plant carrots, and carrots can be a very difficult crop to grow. To get it off on the right foot by getting them germinated successfully. Many people will just plant their seeds on a grow bag or in the ground and water them and let them go. The seeds are very, very minute, very, very small, and this requires a minimal amount of soil over top of them. And if you just leave it open like this, the water or the moisture in the soil evaporates and the seed is not able to capture any of that moisture, and you don't get very good germination. So first thing we're going to do here is get the seeds planted. Now again, we're using the seeding square. This is a round grow bag, 3 foot in diameter. This is a 1 square foot device here. So we will be able to use the round grow bag with this square, and we just kind of have to, fill in the spots. And carrots are 16 per square foot, so that would be the red spots here, the red indicated on this seed square. So I'm going to start at the top here. I'm going to work my way down, and then I'm going to fill in the sides. Now we're going to be planting several different varieties of carrots, and if you have difficulty getting the seed into the little color coordinated one that you want, you're going to take the plunger make a little hole, put that over, and drop the seed in there. So it's very easy. So we're going to be planting the little golf ball size carrots. So if you don't have a deep container, this is the way to go. We're going to do some purple carrots, rainbow blend carrots, yellow carrots, some little finger carrots, some royal carrots, and some more purple carrots. So this way is what we did last year in the 2x4 raised bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seeding square. Even though this is round, I can still, go down the center here and then work the edges to where I haven't planted before. And I'm going to do each pack of carrot seeds, I'm going to do one square width and kind of go that route. Now I could use the funnel, but all I'm going to do is use the little plunger here and just tap just a little bit to get that seed to set in there. And then we're going to water it in, and then I'll show you how the cardboard is a crucial element to the success of how strong your germination rate is going to be. Okay, so I've got them all planted. Now I'm going to water this in. Get a good amount of water, saturate the seeds in. I've knocked the soil just gently over the seeds. Again, with these seeds, very, very small seeds, you do not need a lot of covering. If you bury them too deep, they will have difficulty coming up. So I just want to get this very, very saturated, and you'll see why that's important. Okay, now it's very saturated. You want to get a piece of cardboard, cut it to the size of your container. If you're in the ground, if you're growing in good ground soil, you can use cardboard. You can use a 1x4, or 2x4, or 2x6, whatever the case is. You're wanting to cover your soil with the cardboard. Get it firm down in there. I got it cut for this grow bag. I'm going to throw a couple of rocks up here on it. We're sandwiching, we're adding a layer of protection on the seeds. Without this cardboard, the seeds are going to dry out from that water very, very quickly and have a very poor stand. Even if you water every day, there's still going to be moisture evaporating away from the seed. With this is a barrier that doesn't allow any of that moisture to evaporate out. So you're going to leave this on here for 14, maybe 21 days. That's 7 to 21 days is usually how long carrots take to grow. Ideal soil conditions, 55 to 70 degrees is ideal for germination, good healthy soil for growth. So you'll check this after about a week, 2 weeks. If you don't see anything going, leave it alone. They'll be fine. If you do see a lot of the green or what will be an off-white color because they're not getting any sunlight, then go ahead and remove it. You're totally fine. If you forget to remove it, it's okay, go ahead and remove it. Those seeds are still believing they're under soil, trying to pierce through the cardboard. And in 21 days, at most, you'll pull this back, you'll have a phenomenal stand of carrot seeds in your grow bag, in your ground, in your container. So thanks for joining me. Join me again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.